What's up, team? And thank you for checking in on us today. It is a wonderful day in the mid-state. It is currently nighttime. I don't have a temperature update for you. But anyway, okay, so as we continue through our series, in the first episode, we learned how to download the game. Maybe a little too simplistic for you, but I appreciate you checking it out if you did. So the next step after that is creating your wizard. So as you come and log in, you're going to see this new button down here. We'll go to new, and that will get you into the character selection area. We're not going to spend time listening to the conversation. You guys can do that. I will encourage you to do that. It's a well-written, well-acted game. So first we come up here to the test. You have the option to skip the test if you'd like to. You can take the test. I think there's about 5 or 6 questions, and that will choose your school for you. If you do not want to take the test, you can skip it, and then the schools will pop up here, and you can just select whatever school you want to. I'm going to run down through here and just give a few thoughts on each school. This is not an in-depth and this is not an in-depth analyzing of each school. So there's a lot more to know about these than what I'm about to tell you. So let's start off with Storm. With Storm, you're a damage dealer. Early on, you're going to run into fizzles, where you will not be able to cast your spell. So, also, glass cannon would be how I would describe Storm. Moving on to Myth, the word that comes to mind when I think of Myth is nuisance. You can really cause some pain for the monster across from you, or if you PvP the person across from you. You can get rid of shields, can get rid of traps, can stun, some varied attacks and utility to this one. Life, as I'm sure you guessed, is the best healer in the game. Doesn't do great damage, but has high accuracy right off the jump, so you're not going to fizzle near as often as you would if you're the Storm, per se. Fire, the top thing about fire is damage over time. A lot of the spells are damage over time, so you can stack those up, and has really got good damage that somewhat rivals Storm as far as most powerful. Next, we're moving on to Ice. Ice is the most defensive school in the game. Especially in a team situation, you're going to be called upon to do your best to keep the aggro or the attention of the opposing team. Try to keep them focused on you and keep the damage on you and not on, say, your glass cannons or your hitters. It's not a lot of damage to start out with. Kind of a tough one. Not one of my favorites. As we move on to Balance, that's my favorite. I love that school. It is so diverse and varied. It can be tricky, though, sometimes to kind of get the hang of. But once you get the hang of how to use all those varied spells, it can be a heck of a good time. Death is probably the best solo character. If you're not really interested in being on a team, if you like rolling by yourself, Death is probably for you. Death is known for its steal health spells. You do damage and you also steal health. So if you're low on health, or even if you're not, you have spells that you cast that not only does damage to the opposing monster or person, but it steals their health and heals you. So, pretty interesting. If you want me to pick for you what your first school should be, I'm going to go with Death. That's a pretty safe, pretty easy first wizard to pick, but it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So let's move on to the next screen where they know what we are, but they want to know what we look like. So we'll come in here, and this is where you can customize your character. I mean, anything you want to customize. Eyes, skin tones, face paint, glasses, change the color of your outfit there. This is where you can get really specific on what your character looks like. However, I will say, don't worry about it if you don't get your character exactly how you want it to look like, because there is this thing called the magic mirror in the shopping district in Wizard City that you can go back and you can change all these. So don't get freaked out if it doesn't look exactly like you want. So we're gonna roll this. Yep, here's where it tells you about the magic mirror shop down there. Now your name, when we get to the name section here, somewhat important, at this time you cannot change the name to your character. Once you pick, let's see here, Aaron Nightshield, that's who you're stuck with for eternity, or until they change it. I have heard that they may be working on something where you can change your name. Honestly, I think that's kind of tricky. I don't want names changing all the time. How can you keep up with who your friends are? But anyway, that's for another time. So just keep that in mind. One trick that I will show you, you don't have to have 3 names. And I'm probably going in the wrong direction, but you can select none, and you can also select none for your last name and just go with Aaron if you want to. So, put a little thought in what you want your name to be, maybe what you want your other wizard's name to be. Maybe pick a last name that you use across all your wizards, or maybe a first name and use that first name with all your wizards. There's no true and tried way that you have to do it. So once you get your name selected, there you go. You're ready to head out to the spiral, or I assume, yeah, you're going to end up in Merle Ambrose's office, ready for your first quest and stuff. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me all the way to the end. I hope this was somewhat beneficial for you. And now we are really close to seeing you in the spiral.